necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff, management, ownership of the station. Jay and Janine are expressing their own opinions, and such is not a substitute for psychological or mental health advice. If you are experiencing an emergency, please hang up and call 911.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show, where we're talking everything
Momentum Mindset Show. And if you want to call in and be part of the show, we would love to hear from you. It's 888-565-1470. And if being on live radio is not your thing, no problem. Send us your comments and we will interact with you on Facebook.
Let's create some momentum.
If you can hear me, we are getting nothing back from you. Is anybody there?
And it's already starting to happen. And as we discussed earlier today, it's really a question of planting seeds. We're the farmers of a gestation of 24 months.
I don't think they can zoom in yet, but
the gestation of elephants. I think is what's happened.
My hands have been in the dirt. Now they're nicely manicured.
They're nice. Okay, good. Yes, they are. Good for you. Good for you.
No, we really have had just an epic couple of weeks. And yes, I mean, it was like really the beginning of summer was like the day, right? It was like June the 21st, which last week, and we got some big news of one of our cases getting resolved in the law firm. Mm-hmm. And then from there, it just seemed like...
It got into a flow.
It was in the flow, and the phone started to ring, right. And people are getting it.
We're so grateful.
I think that people are getting the concept, and as an entrepreneur, you're doing something. You've shifted a business model, and you're doing it over and over again, day after day, and you're believing in it. And even though nothing showed up for a while,
and we mean nothing.
And then we were tweaking the concept and everything else, but then finally things start to manifest and to show up, and it really is a reflection of doing the same thing that you did yesterday. And I wrote about this last night on Facebook. I had this post called "It was the Ants," right?
Yeah, that was a great post,
because
by the way.
There was this movie. It was a great movie, but it was with Sean Connery and I forget the female actress that was in it. It was a beautiful movie, and it was about Medicine Man, and it was about this doctor who found a cure for cancer in the rainforest of the Amazon. Mm-hmm. And he creates a batch of this, and he's able to cure humans and animals, and a doctor comes down there because he'd written some letters to support him.
Right.
And there was only a little bit of this batch left, and one of the kids in this village gets very sick, and it's cancer, and they make the decision to use the last of this batch to cure this child of cancer.
Sure.
But in the meantime, they got rid of the only sample of something that cures cancer on this planet. So it was like weighing the value of one human life versus the potential for humanity. Right. And they were convinced that they could recreate the batch because he thought that this cure for cancer came from this plant up in these trees that were like 10, 12 stories tall. And it was very interesting how they would get up there. But it turns out that wasn't it. It wasn't the plant. Actually, they were running the tests with this baseline, and with baseline tests for cancer, they had to run it through, and basically they start with a baseline of sugar. And in this guy's room, he had this jar full of sugar, and there were these ants, these Amazon ants that were on top of the sugar.
Okay.
And so I guess the ants were doing something to the sugar, and so when they threw it to the baseline, they added that particular sugar to the batch. That was the cure for cancer. But the thing was that these loggers were coming and they were burning down the rainforest, and they were literally coming in with their machines and everything to tear down this particular part of the rainforest. And they're like, no, stop, and they tore down the rainforest. So it was like a plug for the rainforest, but it was also, it
was a political statement.
It was a political
and a cure
statement.
from cancer,
it was a cure from cancer, but I took it to this message. When
Yeah.
I look it back, and I was talking to you on the car on the way over here. It's like, what was the magic in my secret sauce to get me to where I am in my life and transformation since March 11th of 2018? And I said to someone this morning, I said, all roads lead to Rome, but I have to take them all to get there. So I don't know if it's the yoga. I didn't know if it's the 5 days a week in the gym. I don't know if it's the business transformation. I don't know if it's the type of law that we're practicing now. I don't know if it's the playing the piano at church. I don't know if it's the books that we're reading, the podcasts that I listen to, but it's everything that contributes to this.
Is. I would say that it is. I would say that for myself too. And I think the biggest shifts, yes, you can see the external payoffs of the shifts, but there really are internal shifts, different ways of thinking about the same circumstances. In other words, like our life is not that much different necessarily on the outside, but the way we think about our life is incredibly different. And I think that is really the power of everything and anything that we've done in the last number of months. And that's also what got us through the absolute drudgery and heartache.
I like how you put that.
The first quarter of 2019. Actually, it was like mid-quarter. It wasn't really first quarter. It was mid-quarter of 2019, which was extremely challenging and very, very sobering experience. There was so much richness and lessons in it, and we're still in the reverberation of that, and we're still learning from that, and we're still growing and expanding from that. But you're right. I don't think it's any one thing. It's all of it. It's all of it. It's that choice to create a different way for yourself.
And one of the things, though, I will say, are my aunts, so to speak. All right, we write our names on a piece of paper towel every single day with an exclamation point. All right. Now, last week, I invited our audience out there to write your name on a paper towel and put an exclamation point on it. And I wanted to hear from you. We want to hear from you today. I posted on Facebook the number. I'm going to give it out.
This is the challenge today.
888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. If you don't have a story about your paper towel, call in anyway. We'll explain to you what you have to do, because if you want to create something extraordinary this week, I can't guarantee much in my life, but I'm telling you I can guarantee this. There's some magic about writing your name on a paper towel in black marker with an exclamation point or the words wow. You can go crazy. You can say the words fun, love, wow. Let's see. I mean, we had 5 new clients this week. This is with the new paper towels. I mean, since we put them up last week. Yeah. And if you look at like my house, I mean, paper towels are hanging from the rafters. They're hanging from the bed. I mean, it's everywhere.
Call Jay as your decorator. He's also available for those services as well. We've got Jay Farrow Decorating Services.
Let's say since we started putting those paper towels up 3 weeks ago, okay, I would say that our lives are considerably different.
They are.
Let's say that, and I'll say that the ones we put up even 6 weeks ago. Let's see. I had an amazing coaching experience at the personal development program. I see without glasses. I've had LASIK surgery since then. We've had the biggest financial victory in our law firm ever. Okay, we've had 5 new clients or 6 new clients in the last week and a half. I've had the best Father's Day with my dad that I've ever had.
Right.
Get a closer relationship with my brother. A wonderful day with my nephew. I mean, my list goes on and on and on. And I know that this is like started some time ago. But again, these little things. I don't know how the universe works. I don't. I study quantum physics. Right. I don't know the equations. But there's something about a paper towel and your name on it that has the effect of...
Actually, I did not share with you, but my paper towel from yesterday was another I think this is going to be big win Fridays. This is what my new vow. It was, creating that momentum for today and just continuously doing it and, trusting and surrendering. That's really what it's about. We don't know how it works, but we like to lean in when we see something that does work.
Okay.
And I think that's like the point as well.
888-565-1470. So we're going to do the phone call. So the we were talking about this today too. So my life is great. Awesome. Amazing. Outstanding, ridiculous. I mean, I'm having
okay. Wait, can I pinch you?
The best that it's ever been. If this is a dream, don't wake me up. And I'm looking around now. I'm like, wow. Now, what else? What's next?
Oh my
okay.
God! Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. Because
please don't be kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. Because I got some stuff.
Okay, because I was going to say the list of what's next is wow.
Right. No, the list of what's next is wow. And what's awesome is that as you get to climb hills and mountains in your life, you know what you get to see? The ones that are in the distance.
Yeah.
The ones that actually are like more beautiful, with more waterfalls, with greater challenges, with more risk, with more of life. And the higher that you go, the more that you can see. And then you go back down and you start your journey all over again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I came up with this concept of like life is a bunch of lily pads, but don't retire on a lily pad. I mean, you keep jumping from lily pad to lily pad.
So say more about that.
Because
what does that even mean, Jay? Like, explain that for the people who are like, wait, lily pad, jumping, life? What is?
What is it for you? I have to get pretty vulnerable to do that. You want me to do that? Okay, I'll do that.
This is a Momentum Mindset show. Where
okay.
vulnerability
and I did this,
welcome.
and I started doing this before I even knew that I was doing this. But when I was when I was in high school, I didn't have the grades to get into college. So what I did was the last 6 months of my high school, I studied piano performance. And in 6 months, I went from like knowing how to play the piano a bit, knowing how to read music a little bit, to playing a classical piece, 2 classical pieces, and knowing all my scales. And I went to an audition at FSU and to FIU. Mm-hmm. Now I didn't get in. Okay, and all my friends went to University of Florida. Actually, I wanted to go to law school as well, but I didn't have the grades for any of that stuff. I didn't have the grades to get to University of Florida. And when I went to, so I started off at FIU, not knowing or have any plans to do whatever. I actually just started to party a lot when I went to FIU. I actually got thrown out of school. Most people don't know this. I got thrown out of school my first semester of college, my second semester of college, and what got me back into school was music. I happened to take a theater course, and their theater professor was running a film. He was going to create a film at FIU. Mm-hmm. And it was completely student produced, working with Gloria Estefan and Emilia Estefan, and working with Andy Garcia, who was a graduate of FIU.
Nice.
And we got to work together on this project, so I wrote the music for the film. And in so doing that,
what is the film? Is it out? Do we know it?
No, it was called Conditions of Secrecy. It was about like how to protect yourself in sexual contact with by using protection and stuff. But it was like but it was a film.
It was a documentary.
It was a dramatic film about it was actually about a fraternity guy that or a kid, a big man on campus, going out partying one night and cheating on his girlfriend and the consequences.
Gotcha.
So we wrote this music, and it was the whole the faculty, the staff, the president, the provost of FIU, and based upon, I like to make up that based upon this, I got another semester at FIU. But I always wanted to go to law school, and I told this story about this guy Boris who he challenged me about like, hey, you got to be in college, I shared my report card with him, and he was a really close friend of mine. He's like, dude, you got to be in college, and he walked away from me. I actually haven't even spoken to him since. And I went to a payphone. I called my mom, like, Mom, I'm gonna go to the University of Florida. She's like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? She's like, I'm gonna go to law school. I'm gonna make this happen. And in the next semester or two at FIU, I brought my grades up, and I was able to transfer to Santa Fe. That's my next lily pad with Santa Fe Community College.
Ah, okay. So this is now you're getting to the nitty gritty of what the lily pads mean.
Santa Fe Community College was my next lily pad. So I got a 3.75, almost a 4.0 at Santa Fe. Joined the speech and debate team. Right. Then I went to university, and that got me directly into University of Florida with the grades that I had at Santa Fe. I did well at University of Florida, but my LSAT score wasn't that good at all. And I didn't get into University of Miami. Most people don't know that. I went to St. Thomas for a year.
You are the man of mystery, but today not so
but
much.
I went to St. Thomas, great law school, but I mean, I wanted to.
Yeah, you
I
wanted to go
wanted to
to
get
UF,
back to
period.
UF, and I wasn't able. I got really good grades my first year of St. Thomas, and I was able to get into UM, and I chose to go to UM over UF, and that was my next lily pad. And I worked at the state attorney's office for a little bit, but then I couldn't afford to work there. And then I went to my first law firm, which I worked for them for a year, and then got a wonderful experience. Went to my next lily pad, and I'm recognizing in my life, I might not have been able to jump from this one to this one because it was just too high, or I just didn't have the grades, or I had all these things.
Right.
Well, I'm starting to learn in my life that I might not be able to get here on my next jump. Okay. But my legs can take me to this next lily pad. And I see this one, and I see that next
Got
lily
it.
pad.
Okay.
But I say don't retire in a lily pad because just because you got to this thing,
All right, so don't stay there. Is what you're saying.
don't
Keep
settle.
going.
Don't settle for what you think is good. Never think about what you want so much is that you're not willing to accept something better.
Yeah.
This Chris Voss says this. Never be so convinced into what you want that you wouldn't settle for something better.
Exactly. So with that, we're going to go to
With
our
her-
first commercial break, and stay tuned.
Stay
Let
tuned.
us know what your lily pads are, and if you would like to discuss that with us and maybe get some laser coaching or whatever you want, call in 888-565-1470.
Farrow Law Firm, standing up to corporate bullies, using innovative, aggressive, and effective strategies to resolve disputes effectively and timely. Contact us at 954-252-9818, online at farrowlawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm. We look forward to being of service to you.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show.
With Jay and Janine, give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
And welcome back to the Momentum Mindset Show.
Welcome back, everybody.
I'm your host, Jay Farrow.
And I am your co-host, Janine Davis. Thank you for staying with us. And
And
we'd love to know about what your lily pads are about.
the lily pads, and if
Your
you have this
stepping
thing
stones, if you
with
will.
the stepping stones, and if you have a paper towel moment, if you wrote your name on a paper towel this week, like we suggested last week, and then something showed up in your life, we'd like to hear about it. I know, like my personal trainer wrote her name on it, and now she's in love with a guy that she didn't see before, and now that relationship.
Right.
I'm not saying it happened because of the paper towel. I'm saying it happened because of the magic marker on the paper towel. But it certainly.
But
it
you're
happened.
not saying that it didn't happen.
Oh, so I
because of the
wanted to
paper
say
towel.
this. Speaking of like this lily pad thing and what I'm up to right now. Okay.
Okay, what is that?
I had
Please tell us.
my first piano lesson today.
Wow, please tell
I
us
haven't
how
had
that
one.
was.
Not my first piano lesson, but it's the one that I'm actually going back to commit to piano lessons to learn how to read music. And I've
Yep.
been posting about this, going back to learn something that I always knew made me feel like an imposter in playing the piano.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was playing the piano, I was able to learn something very quickly, to memorize it, and then I had an ear that was able to play the piano, play the
Yeah.
piece the way that I wanted to play it.
Yeah.
Jay's way. Not the way that was on the music, the way that I'd heard it. Now, I had plenty of enjoyment with music, but I
Right.
knew in my heart that I wasn't a real musician. I mean, that's what I told myself the story. And maybe that's true and maybe that's not true, but I know this, that there's a skill set in that requires me to slow down and actually learn how to read music. It's like a skill like learning how to read a foreign language or even your own language.
Absolutely. Well, music is
I
its
never
own language,
I never
isn't it?
bothered to do it because it was hard. It was challenging.
Or
It
maybe it was a
required
little boring or
it was
too slow
it was
for you.
boring. As a matter of fact, someone just suggested that this show is boring. It's like online.
By the way, thank you. That's hilarious.
Thank you. We appreciate the feedback.
Absolutely.
But I never took the time because it was easy to do something else. And I find myself that I show off in life very well. I'm able to show off with the
Really?
talents of that. Yeah, really. I'm a bit of a show off. And
I hadn't noticed.
but over the last year, I've learned how to show up
Yes. This.
and
is
trust myself that I will show up at 3:45 in the morning, that I'll show up to the next business meeting. I'll show up to work, which is a big deal for me. And now it's like, what if I went back and actually learned? What if I actually learned the one thing that is my biggest mountain, and that's something that I can't fake. It's like interesting when she asked me today, and her name is Janine, by the way.
Right.
Okay.
So please tell people about that, because that is just all kinds of hilarious.
Janine and I were meeting at a Barnes and Noble. We were going to go to a party a couple of months ago, and at the Barnes and Noble there was a car, and she had this sheet on the back with like a flyer on her back of her car. And
like good old school, tear off here and call the number and you're good to go.
And
And she was advertising for piano lessons.
She was advertising for piano lessons. And
we noticed right away what her name was.
Her name was Janine. And I went to see her today for my first piano lesson. Now, she writes musical theater. Okay, she's into a bunch of other musical projects, and she had the same challenges I did. Believe it or not, she had the same challenges I did, and she had to go back when she was in college. She started at Broward College and ended up at NYU, if you can imagine that. And she's got this leapfrog thing going on. But she said that what she did was she had to put fresh music in front of her, and she had to learn how to read. It was interesting today when she said, "Jay, how can you play the piano?" And I started to play this piano. She's like, "Oh, that's well and good." And she's like, "Okay, let's take this piece." And it was like the beginning piece of all beginning pieces, seemingly and I could read it. But then she noticed things about how I like to play. When there was parts that were easy, I like to show those things off. I'm like, "Oh, look at that run. I know how to do that." And then when the things were hard, but she's like, I created my own time.
Yes.
I created my own time signature.
Actually, as someone who sings with you now, now that it explains why sometimes we would have clashes, because I know the music one way and you're making it up kind of your own way.
I'm totally making it up my own way.
So now that explains a lot. Wow. And by the way, it's a testament to both of us, such a strong ear, because we could hear each other and sort of assimilate to each other's style.
So is that 2290? Because I want to give her number out. Because we had a powerful lesson.
I'll cut it. I'll shout it out.
When we were at this, one of the things she said to me is that you can slow it down until you can get it right. And that stunned me, because that was, for me, I was like, my entire life flashed before my eyes. My business life, how I connect with people, how I played the piano. It's all right there, right in front of me. And here's the thing. You can't lie about reading music. It's like you can't walk into the gym and lie about how much weight that you can lift. It's like you can't go to yoga and say, "Oh yeah, I know how to do that pose and everything else," and then walk in there and it's like when you get there, you could talk all you want. You could show off, you could pose, you could wear the yoga clothes, you could wear,
Yeah.
But you get there, and it's either you know it or you don't.
Right. And you know it in your body or you don't.
Or you know it in your body or you don't.
Cannot fake it.
Because learning music
Learning
music is exactly like being able to read. It's like you got to know in your cell that you know how to do it.
This is a huge distinction that I make in my coaching practice, actually, where, a client will say, "Well, I know that," and I get so frustrated because I'm not doing it. And I'm like, because you don't actually know it. Because if you knew it, you would be living it, you would be doing it, you would actually be embodying it.
Right.
And you wouldn't be living the frustration of knowing it up here, but then not reproducing it or living it out in your life. You don't know it. You're aware of a concept, but a concept is not the same as knowing something. So I really use that as an interruption and a disruption in pattern of thinking, because when you tell yourself constantly, "I know it, I know it, I know it," but you don't really know it because you're not actually doing it, there's an incongruence and a misalignment, and you're actually misinforming yourself about what you know and what you don't. Because if you knew it, it'd be like tying your shoes. But because you don't know it, it's merely an idea. And there's a huge distinction with that.
One of the things that she said to me today was like, you have this talent. It's like, you can learn how to read music. You can't learn talent.
No.
I'm going to give her a number. It's 954-290-3029. Maybe she'll get the calls that we're not getting right now.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe call into Janine,
And she was just, so we had...
say her full name.
Okay.
Janine Robledo.
That's how.
Okay.
Hopefully, that's how you pronounce it.
This is how we're hoping she pronounces it. But Janine, we know for sure she pronounces Janine.
I'm just very grateful, and we're on a journey now, and we're going to do it 2 times a week, and then she's going to give me music. And here's the thing: I'm saying this out loud because I want to be held accountable to it. Because I know
You will be.
Oh, here's. Oh, are we up on the break here? Because I'll talk about this piece because this was like the biggest breakthrough of the whole thing, is that I have to stop playing like the way I played before for a while.
Yeah.
In other words, she's like, I already saw your ego trying to take over in the music. Mm-hmm. And I felt my ego. It was like, oh, I know this part. See, let me show you this. I had to slow it down like I don't know it.
Yep.
And then I have to relearn how to play music, to
Right.
touch the piano even, and forget that I even know it.
Yeah.
And this goes and applies to even when we were the practice of law. Because going back and now, I mean, I know all this stuff and being in the courtroom and doing the show off and being able to own the room, okay? And what's been missing in my practice is the excellence and attention to detail in a large case with large discovery, for instance,
Right,
okay?
right.
So it's forcing me to go back to basics, basic procedure, and this is only going to make me a better lawyer, a better piano player. But there's going to
Yeah.
also be an eternal knowing, an eternal walking around like, I got this, in a sense of I got it, and I own it because it's part of me.
So really what this speaks into, which I think is so interesting, is that it's practice. Because here's the thing. You can have talent, but practice will trump talent each and every time. And if you look at the biggest athletes in the world, they will tell you this all day long. That the guy who outworks the most talented player who doesn't work as hard is always going to win. So I think the fallacy.
You're right. I hear stories about that all the
fallacy
time.
in our society is that talent alone, and this is what we buy into, right? And the problem is that you become accustomed to getting away with what you can get away with with just sheer talent. And believe it or not, I will share a lesson that my 18-year-old niece taught me. She's incredibly athletically talented, ridiculously so. Every sport she touches, she excels at. However, she herself knows intuitively, because it's not like we're great athletes at the house, she intuitively knew that if she was going to be at an elite level, which is always where she's had her eye, she's never rested on her laurels, she would have to really kill it. So that kid, at the age of 16, picked up her first volleyball ever and then went on to create the winning point at the state championship 2 years later with girls who had been playing since they were this big. So she taught me that her talent coupled with an inner knowing that practice is the way to unleash and really harness and grow that talent, coupled with everything that I know and study and read, it really also says a lot to me, which is why we spoke about, being challenging yourself. So your challenge was to get piano lessons. My challenge is to go back to voice lessons, also with the idea to obviously practice and rehearse my instrument, which is my voice, but also to learn to read music, because I'm going to be studying with someone who's a classical singer. So it's not like I can just go in and fake it or do whatever. She's going to demand that I be at the top of what I can create. So that's where it is. It's all about practice, just like the practice of law, just like the practice of going into the office and exercising
That's
that
why
muscle.
they call it a practice.
Absolutely. So really, this is what it's about, right? It's walking into that, living into that.
I want to get into that on the other side of this break.
On the other side of this break. Thank you.
Farrow Law Firm, standing up to corporate bullies, using innovative, aggressive, and effective strategies to resolve disputes effectively and timely. Contact us at 954-252-9818, online at farrowlawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm. We look forward to being of service to you.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show.
With Jay and Janine, give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show. And we are back. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for everyone who is staying tuned with us and everybody who takes time out of their day to spend any amount of minutes with us. This is a huge honor. Why are you not calling?
Right. Anybody that's on Facebook right now, anybody that's on Facebook right now, and I see a bunch of you, feel free to call in. Because I know some of you that I'm seeing here right now did the paper towel challenge.
Yes. So after we get comments like, oh, I wanted to call in, but I was too shy.
Yeah, 888-565-1470. It is. It's Friday afternoon. Challenge yourself. I mean, we have a safe space here because we're looking to learn, grow. Again, some laser coaching.
Yeah, I would love it.
And we're here for you. I mean, this is part of what this show has been about for the last 7 months. We're entrepreneurs. We're human beings going through the human experience, going through transformation, intentionally going through transformation, constantly reading, constantly growing, constantly educating ourselves, and want to be in service. And one of the things that we're doing, and coming up next week, we have another mentor call with our coach for the Momentum program. I'm really getting excited for it as these new things are coming into my space about like the piano lessons. Because I know for me internally, there is nothing else on this planet that's going to show me that transformation is a real thing. Not to say that I haven't even seen it, but for me to know that I could read music. And when I did it today, I was like, wait a second, I can read. Mm-hmm. Okay, now it's just a matter of skill level.
Right.
And that was a breakthrough.
And being okay at being a beginner at a skill level.
And being okay with being exactly where I'm at.
Exactly.
Meeting myself where I'm at as opposed to meeting anybody else where I'm at.
Yep.
And this has nothing to do with anybody else.
Correct.
Because none of you or anybody else is ever going to know that Jay either knows how to read music or doesn't. But for me, this is my mountain. And I think everybody's got a mountain like this.
Absolutely.
And everybody knows their mountain. I think that
Absolutely.
as a kid, we all get some talent in something. We all figure out what our talents are.
Absolutely.
Like what you said was very powerful. I mean, how often do we actually practice and cultivate the talent? I mean, for 1,000 different reasons. How many parents have said you're never gonna be good at that, even though you're really, really good at that? Mm-hmm. Or how many?
You can't make a living at it, so don't even bother.
I see there's like a violin in the studio. I'm like, how many times did like the father said, "Turn that, stop playing that thing." We don't need you, to hear that.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because I think I may have shared. My father is a wonderful human being, and actually, he's a very dramatic man. He was an actor. He was a thespian in his own right, but really sort of, also a product of his upbringing, very British, very sort of like really keep calm and carry on kind of thing, and do what you got to do, and picked himself up by the bootstraps and made his way from nothing, from scratch. He started his life and made it really to the top of business, and very successful person, and but really sort of suffers from this realist, syndrome. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But so of course he was brought up in a generation of, children are to be seen but not heard, right? And I was a very loud child. I imagine such a thing. But I always liked to talk. I always liked to be boisterous, and this was unseemly in my household. It was very unseemly in my household. So I was told
How was that for you?
It was, what? It was, I got used to it, but it was yucky. And I said to my father not too long ago, I remember people, as a singer, I don't talk to myself as much as I sing to myself, and I don't even realize I'm doing it. But it's like a way of whatever. I'll just be like singing a theme song to a show or something. So not too long ago, I was singing while we were watching TV during a commercial. I was singing along with the commercial, and my father went, shh. And I said, there it is, the shush. I'm 45 years old, and I'm still getting shushed. I said, I want you to know that you may have silenced the voice of a generation. Now, that is a gross exaggeration. But still.
When do you remember your
first...
How
many times do we do this to the kids?
But when do you remember your first shush?
Oh, God. I must have been like 2-3 years old.
I remember like someone telling me not stop playing, the piano. And it was a few family members on a few different occasions. It was like, it's good at certain times, but not at other times. But,
right. And as a child, you can't discern that. You don't know. So, like, one of the things is that my 13-year-old niece has really, she could be the voice of a generation, actually. She has an incredible vocal talent. And every time she sings, like, I praise that child so much. I don't care that it's at an inappropriate time. I don't care that it could be at the middle of dinner. I don't care that she should be in bed. If I hear that child singing, I'm saying, please keep going. Because it's not my father's fault. Like, he did what he knew. I don't know how many times he was shushed as a kid. I don't know, and I'm not judging that. But I did take it to heart. That's my choice. That's on me. That's my soul.
But you didn't know any better at the time.
I did not. So, but I decided to shush a lot as an adult. And, but it dawned on me that I didn't practice my craft that much, because on the one hand, I was encouraged to do it, but on the other hand, I was shushed every time I did it. So it sent mixed messages to me, and it's only as an adult that I worked it out within myself to say, I don't really care, so I'm going to just keep doing my thing. But it took me a long time. So again, and I, like you, skated by on the talent, the ear. Being able to mimic sound, being able to reach a note way beyond
we both
what
sing
I
in a
thought.
choir.
Yeah.
We both sing in a choir, and if it's the same experience for you as what you're talking about,
absolutely it is.
And we sing next to people that are singing opera, that sing
singers.
Broadway, and when they show up, I'm like, phew, thank God they're here, because I know that I can mimic what that person's doing.
Right, but you don't necessarily want to lead it like they do.
No, I don't. I don't think that I don't think that I could right now. There's a lot of that. Thank God they're here, and it keeps me small. But again, it's the broader thing that we're bringing up right now is that there are so many. Everybody's got this talent in something.
Yeah.
And then part of the talent is very easy. And then part of the talent requires a bunch of work.
Yeah, and people stop when the talent portion doesn't take them into the other.
Because sometimes the talent portion, or that hard part of the talent
portion gets you so far, but then the greatness requires the practice.
Right, it's
requires the hard work. The tedium.
The half an hour a day, doing something that you're going through it.
Right.
And it's for me, it's like. I was able to go to the gym 5 days a week. I was able to not eat sugar for 4 months. I was able to do all these things. And it was like tying my shoes. And I wrote that finally on Facebook. I was like, you know what? It seems like I've done a lot. And people are like, oh my God, you do all these things. I'm like, you understand? Like, I know. I don't know that I don't really have to earn it that much. It's like no big deal to wake up at 3:45. It's no big deal to get to the gym.
That's not the challenge for you.
It's not challenge. We're lifting a bunch of dead weight is not challenging for me. Doing it consistently is not challenging for me. I know when I face and I check my heart, there's two things. One is flying an airplane, and the other one's playing the piano and learning how to play and learning how to read music.
Yeah.
And going back and actually doing it, because it's not exciting. And I told her today, I told Janine today, my other Janine number 3. I said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. And this I don't want to has been coming up a lot lately, because now my life's awesome, absolutely awesome. And now, as soon as my life turned awesome, I turn around and I'm like, hey, I'm paying my bills right now. I'm not actually like what am I going to say to that person? Oh my God, I don't want to see that person. I'm like, wow, I got this now ability to do all of these great things, and now in my heart, now I have this. I don't want to. I don't want to go to the gym. What, do I have to go to yoga? No. And every time it comes up, because of the ants, I do it anyway. I do it anyway. Right. But this thing is the most important.
That's really powerful, because everybody comes up against the I don't want to's in the same polarity. The I don't want to show up when things are going really well, because now you're like, well, I don't have to.
But you're about to go through that too.
Hold on 1 second. And on the other end of it, when things are going so sideways, the I don't want to crushes you. So it's like we're at both polarities of the spectrum. When things are going amazing and when things are going horribly, we all suffer from that. And somewhere in between, it gets louder though at the polarities. And what happens is that the choice comes in. And this is the beauty of the work, of the choice of saying, you know what, I know I really don't want to, and I know I'm going to feel amazing after I do it. I'm going to be better for it and happier.
Right.
And more joyful within myself, knowing that I showed up for myself today, even though I didn't want to.
Now, how can I hold you accountable to this music thing? Because this is a big deal. Because for as long as I've known you, I've even said something to you about the reading of music. You said you're going to work with Shayna, and now you're doing it. So and now I know she's not going to. She's going to hold you to it.
She's going to hold me to it. In fact, one of the things that I loved about her was that as soon as I said to her, "Okay, I'm gonna do lessons with you," she said, "I have one rule, and that is you must practice. I don't care if it's 5 minutes a day, but you will practice, and I will know if you did." And I will know if you didn't.
Right.
And I won't work with you if you don't. And I was like, boom, that's my girl. She's going to, and that's really, really important because it's about standards. It's about her time and my time and making it worthwhile for both of us.
I'll share this. There's nothing more for me humiliating as going the week without practicing and walking into a piano teacher who knows who's you done it or not.
It's like a weigh-in at Weight Watchers.
It's like every single day that passed by. And then what I would do was I would practice about 15 minutes to an hour. And what I learned was I used to be able to fool him if I was practicing an hour before the lesson, which was even worse for me because it was like, okay, that's one more thing I'm getting. But I was only cheating myself.
100%. It's inauthentic to you. Yeah, we think we're getting it over on other people, but we're really messing
everything
ourselves.
From your childhood then come back up when you're doing your homework and your parents said, "Did you do your homework?" And you went, yeah, I did that. And all those old feelings, whatever they are, come back as adults.
The shame.
Right?
It's
the
shame spiral.
But it's those old feelings that we recreate in ourselves as adults.
Absolutely.
And you can recognize them now, though, as an adult.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt. In fact, so much so that I will tell my nieces, I'll say, listen, I've already done school. If you think that you're doing your homework for me or for your parents, you've got it so wrong, honey. This is for you. So you've got options. You've got choices. Do what you do, but always have the choice to know that you did your best and gave it your all. So you can go to Cornell if you want to, or not, or do a gap year and go to Europe, whatever. But you always have the option. So
I like this the gap year. That was not an option for.
Actually, it wasn't really much of an option for me.
I've been hearing about this lately. Is like this gap year.
Yeah, the gap
year.
But
I have that feeling even coming into the office today. It's 100%. Like, oh my God, I got all this work now. It's just on my plate, and I had that old feeling of fight or flight. Am I going to go in there and do it? I'm finding as long as I could sit down and get through the first 5 to 7 minutes, and I'm in it, I'm good. I'm in it, and I'm good.
Yeah. Well, here's my little secret. I actually really love to work. I like it. My frustration is when I can't find my flow. Much like you, not as much as you, but like I handle it differently. If I can't find my flow, I get very frustrated. We have a lot of interruptions during the day. Lots of meetings, lots of talking, lots of blah, blah, which is great, and it's part of business. And when I can have the silence of the morning or when everyone's gone home and I can just get to it, get those emails out, watch this, blah, blah, read this, do all of those things, then I feel good.
So on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about what's coming up for the next week, and we're going to put out another challenge and see if we can get some callers.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the callers. Wait, maybe the phones are down. Is that what's happening? Are the phones down?
All right, we'll be right back because we have a big week coming up and we want to share with you what's coming up.
Farrell Law Firm, standing up to corporate bullies, using innovative, aggressive, and effective strategies to resolve disputes effectively and timely. Contact us at 954-252-9818, online at farrelllawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrell Law Firm. We look forward to being of service to you.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show
with Jay and Janine. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
And welcome back to the Momentum Mindset Show.
Welcome
June
back,
28th.
everybody.
And yes, the year is going by quick.
And what's up with the warp speed?
We wanted to invite the audience to do a couple of things for this coming week, and one of them is to look for your talent. Like, what was this something that you, as a kid, that you were into? It could be a musical instrument. It could be playing baseball.
It could be drawing. It could be comic strips.
Something creative. Something that you really enjoyed, that you're not doing anymore.
It could be computer coding.
But you want to get back to it. But think about it. I mean, if something creative that you want to get back to, because what to find in your life is where are those ants? Where are the ants that are actually the cure for the cancer that was in that medicine? You want to find for you, what is it for you that's going to shift your life, change your attitude? And the thing about these paper towels, and now for anybody that's just joining in, has never seen the show before, we have this thing, and I don't know how this universe works, but basically you write your name on a paper towel in big marker, and you put an exclamation point, and then just wait to see what shows up in the next couple of days. Something big. Write down what you want.
Yeah.
I mean,
be specific. Don't be shy.
It's actually an announcement that something's going to change, and you want to be a part of it. And something about writing your name with an exclamation point and seeing it on paper, like I matter and I am awesome, does something to your cells, your psyche, your focus, your life.
Right.
And when you're doing that in the morning and you're committed to creating something in your life that's different,
Well,
what is it? What are those talents that got shushed as a kid?
Exactly.
Let's look at that this week. Because I really want to hear from you. I want to hear about the paper challenge. I want to hear what comes up for you.
I want to say, now that hearing all of what you've said, something inside of me is like, well, it's neuroscience. Why? Because the brain is incredibly obedient. We are our thoughts, right? We are what we produce. We're all of that. So when you create something that says Jay is awesome, as an example, and you look at that, your brain's like, all right. Our brains don't have moral judgment. They are obedient, which is why when you repeat something negative to yourself, like, I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid, well, you show up stupid. Your brain is obedient. So doing the exact opposite is also extremely powerful. It's like you're commanding your brain and everything that flows out.
I've been doing these signs. I've been doing these signs before.
Before we knew it was neuroscience.
Again, if you're just joining the show, in November of 2016, I was in a coma, and I was the way that the disease I was suffering from. I got out of that, and the doctors and I decided to work together and shift how I was living my life. And one of the things I did out of nowhere was started writing some silly signs. And right after I started writing those silly signs, the first personal development program came around, and I enrolled into that. And ever since then, I kept on saying yes, yes, yes. But in the midst of this, I would write a sign from time to time and just post it with my name. Now, I don't know how all of this works, but I'm going to suggest this to you. I was given about 3 to 6 months to live in 2016 November. Today, I mean, my law firm at that time was taking on cases at $500 a month for foreclosure defense. Right. Today, in the last year, we've gone from that business model to having over $60 million in cases in my office. Plaintiff's cases, a completely new type of law. My body has completely transformed. I no longer wear glasses. I mean, the list can go on. So I don't know what it is that is about these signs. I know that just saying that you matter and writing something down about yourself and then saying to the universe is that I'm important, and then posting it to a place that you can see it. You know what? Why not? Why wouldn't you take something out? And it's like those silly things that go on, Right. I mean, me wearing 2 pairs of socks and brushing your teeth with your left hand if you're right-handed. I mean, do it the opposite. All of these things, look, I always say that I'm going to speak from where I'm at, and I don't want to ever give advice, because I figure, like, who am I to give advice? I'm somebody that's I'm living the life of my dreams today. My life is the best it has ever been. I'm the happiest I have ever been. I can
attest to that.
And it's because all of these things that I'm doing. I have this sign called Jay Walk the Path, and I put an exclamation point. And guess what? I'm walking the path. I'm walking the talk. So all of the things that we're saying on this show and everything that we've been through has been completely honest from where we were at the time. When we were going through 3 months where we didn't pay our landlords, I mean, we shared about it.
Yeah.
Today, I'm saying,
Much to my chagrin. Did anyone hear me that I was raised in an English household where it's, you don't share things like that. So much a testament to you, Jay. Like you really share a lot. You really share a lot. And I've always been, as gregarious as I am and as outgoing as I am, I keep a lot, or I have kept a lot in the chest and close. And you really just laid out there. So good for you.
6 weeks ago, a doctor told me that your body has healed 100%.
Okay, people, you have to know this. Okay, so
So-
I knew Jay in November of 2016. I've known him for a number of years. And not only was his body broken, but I would say in many ways his spirit was broken because he was an angry young man. He's the same good-looking person he is today, talented as ever, incredibly intelligent, super charming. Like, the list goes on and on and on. But he was...
Shushed as a kid.
Yes. And then he became an adult that further shushed himself.
Right.
And so it's been quite a journey. It really, really has.
All of this work, and all of this work is responsible for how my body's healed, because everything
100%.
works in
It's a
tandem.
miracle.
Okay.
He was dying.
So for those of you that have something going on with you, and Janine and I were talking about it. Maybe we'll talk about this more in the next show. But it's doing the thing that you've always wanted to do and doing it out loud and working at it and cultivating it is literally the most healing thing that you can do for your life and your body. For me, it's going back to the piano. For me, it's going back to fundamentals. For me, it's going back to practicing and cultivating my talent, because God gave me the talent, and that only goes.
Well, we recently heard, who are you not to share them? Like, your obligation in this world is to share your gifts, whatever that is. And again, for everybody, it's something different. And it's equally as beautiful. In other words, if it's on a stage, yay. If it's not on a stage, yay too. Like, one is not necessarily better than the other as long as you're sharing it.
Actually, you're always on your stage.
Right. Well, it's the stage of life, Shakespeare.
This is, we all, not only we all matter, we all perform in different ways.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we're all always giving the talents. I mean, and right, who are we to sit on our butts and not share our talents with the world?
Well, because we were created to share our gifts. And this is where sadness comes from. This is where depression comes from. This is where disconnection comes from. Because we get so into our heads that we forget that we are heart-centered beings and we don't share.
So this week,
The challenge is
this, and I want to see. Send me some pictures, and I want to thank the people that did, and for the private text and for posting and everything else. Send me the pictures and post them on our face at the Momentum Mindset Show.
Yeah, please
My
do.
personal
That would be
Facebook page.
amazing.
I post every single night. You can share your pictures, because it's an announcement to the world, the universe. And I matter, and I'm ready to receive something, and I'm ready to receive something big.
This is the distinction.
And wouldn't it
Ready
be
to
great?
receive.
Wouldn't it be great for you to receive the best gift in the world, and that's yourself? And what I mean by that is the talent that you've been hiding, the thing that you've been walking away from, the thing that's been like irking at you, saying, I'm here, don't forget about me, and everything that we're doing while we're sitting in our cubicles and living that life, that 9-to-5 stuff, where that voice is knocking at you, why don't you just, hey, I remember you.
Right.
And you know what? I'm willing to do something. If it's a piano lesson, take a piano lesson. If it's
Right.
if it's a journaling, do a journal. If it's doing a piece of poetry, do a piece of poetry. If it's for you, going out, take a walk, do something after you write that sign.
Absolutely.
And I can't guarantee much in this world, but I can guarantee you this: your life will change as soon as you decide to change it. And when you're doing this for yourself, it truly is the moment of your awakening and an awareness of saying, hey, I'm willing to do something. Because you know what? And here's the thing, and this will give you the chills. Everybody that I've told to do this, everybody I've told to do it has done it because it gives you hope. Because there's a little child inside of us that says to itself, what if he's right? What if something shows up? I mean, nobody says it's not going to work. I definitely know it. I've done the math. It's not going to happen. Because you know what? There's some magic in a possibility. And I say that again. There is magic in possibility. And if you take that and you believe, then there's a possibility that whatever you want can happen for you. And it just takes a little bit of work. I mean, the universe is going to ask you to get off your butt. It's going to. But that first thing, that first gift is free. And that starts with like these little notes that you write to yourself. And I don't know how it works. Okay,
I'm
I don't
clearing
even
neuroscience.
know. But then again, I don't know how my transmission works, but I'm here. So that's what we wanted to think about for this week. And I
Absolutely.
just want to say again, I mean, how grateful we are, Dawn and Freddie, and we're thinking about
so
Freddie this
grateful.
week.
Yes, and we're missing Freddie.
Who lost his father last week,
So our
and I
deepest
know Dawn
condolences.
has been here and
I
running
know.
all the shows
Talk
this
about
week.
partnership,
Right.
right? This is what happens when one is down, the other one rises to the occasion, and this is also like the most amazing part about
Right.
being in partnership.
Right. So see y'all next
Have a
week.
great weekend, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Momentum Mindset Show. For your hosts, Jay and Janine, we'll see you here next week. Thank you for being real, authentic, and honest.
If you'd like to reach us, please contact us on our Facebook page, The Momentum Mindset Show, or on our office phone line, which is 954-559-6987.
We are stronger together.
And remember, keep going.